have something for you. Oh, you're incorrigible. I picked it up on one of our latest planetary expeditions. I'm more than just an extra gun, you know. I'm just pleased I get to utilize some of my old field collecting skills. It's been a while. Check back with me from time to time after we return from our planetary jaunts. If I pick anything up, it's all yours. Thanks for taking the time to talk. I wanted to ask you about the artifact you found on Vectera. When you pulled it from the rock, held it in your hands for the first time, how did you feel? Maybe, but I'd appreciate it if you'd hear me out. No, I don't think you understand. I know about the visions, the light, and the music. How did you feel inside? What were your thoughts? If we're going to unlock the secrets of these artifacts, we're going to need more than simple empirical data. We'll need to dig deeper. It would be helpful if you'd just tell me how holding the artifact made you feel. Oh my goodness. That must have been terrifying. When it comes to the artifacts, it never ceases to amaze me how the science, well, simply fails. Honestly, I wasn't sure how you'd react. Some people would consider what you went through a deeply personal experience. Good. We need all the help we can get. The artifacts are so different, so alien, and I'm certain one of them reached out and spoke to you. Quite the mystery. Well, judging from the fact that both you and Barrett claim to have heard music, I've made the leap that the artifact was reaching out. Music composition might not consist of words and sentences, but I'll be damned if that isn't an attempt at language. Oh, that's an excellent question. You'd think after years of gathering data about the artifacts, I'd have the perfect answer to that, but I haven't the faintest idea. Not much, I'm afraid. All I have to show for my efforts are eyewitness accounts, scores of inconclusive metallurgical test results, and wild theories. Oh, no, not at all. There's so much going on there, I can't afford to divert all of our resources, but I have classified the artifacts as a priority project. Frustrating? No. Bewildering? Yes. It would be, oh, well, an explorer's dream to solve a mystery like this. I knew I picked the right person for the job. Look, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to talk, and for keeping an open mind. And I also wanted to say, well, I'm pleased we're on this journey together. It's the best decision I've made in quite a long time.
Well, you're back. Oh, we'll get to what happened to Barrett. Don't you lin me. I thought things had already gone sideways, but no, that was just the beginning. More pirates showed up when you were gone. We weren't as lucky this time. Calvert, Troy, some of the new Dusties, they didn't make it. Who knows with pirates? Revenge, peeking at the scraps. Maybe they're from a different crew and we just got hit twice by sheer bad luck. Well, how could you have? You weren't here. Anyway, I was pinned down behind some crates with Barrett. Bullets and laser fire everywhere. No smile on that damn carefree face of his. Like he knew this was it. I started steeling myself to go out fighting. Then that idiot puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Stay here, Lynn. I got you."
Not for them, anyway. Barrett is more dangerous than you might think.
Next thing I know, 2 of the pirates are dead, and he's got the 3rd one in a headlock. Drags him out into the open at gunpoint and demands to talk, or else I'm going to demonstrate Newton's 3rd law on this guy's temporal lobe. And that's when they brought out Hella. I didn't overhear everything, but after the 10 longest seconds of my life, Barrett put his hands up, and both of them ended up getting taken aboard the pirate ship. And that's the last I saw of either of them. Too risky to put that in the message. Too much liability. You know how it is. Our clients need to know when the operations start and stop. We handle the rest. They could have grav-jumped anywhere. I tried pinging a transmission to the ship in the comms building before they left, but the pirates must have fried it. You want to try it? Go ahead. But the odds of them being alive, even if you could find them... I've lost a lot of people on this run, Dusty. I just want to pack up.
That last click is so satisfying, isn't it?
Make out the grav jump calculations before we're out of range. Out of range of what? out of range of the sensor array on Vectera. Would you keep up? Once we're outside the star system, the bandwidth goes from instant speed to effectively never.
What good is sending a transmission down there? You gonna tell Lynn how royally screwed we both are? She doesn't even have a ship.
You underestimate how many of my admirers there are in the galaxy, Heller. One of them is bound to show up, looking to reunite with this handsome face.
We're doomed. Capital D, doomed.
Got it, okay. Whoever finds this, I'm attaching the interstellar coordinates to the metadata on the transmission. Rescue us. Repeat, rescue us.
So, you actually get that computer working again? What? Let me see that. Funny. Even knowing he's alive, I still never want to see him again. Hella, on the other hand. Okay. Let me send you the location data embedded in the transmission. Find them, okay? What? Really? Not really cut out for whatever it is people like you and Barrett do. But it might not be a bad time to think about a career change after all this. If you have room in your crew for an outpost supervisor, maybe we can talk. Be a while before Argos comes to pick me up. I'll be here if you need me. Seems like you've been keeping busy, Dusty. If, you find yourself in need of a capable traveling companion, we should talk. My contract's up with Argos, and I could use a change of scenery. If you give me an outpost to run, I'll have it optimized for rapid material production in no time. I can make myself useful in other ways, too. I'm a good hand with explosives, and you'll never hear me complain about carrying a heavy pack. Sure. I don't mind taking orders from a former employee. It can't be worse than working for Barrett. After this mess? Certainly. It's just a job. Nothing to get sentimental about. Works for me. I'm not fussy about assignments. I'll go where I'm needed. Right. I'll get to work. Let's catch up later.
Good luck finding Barrett. Keep an eye out for Hella while you're at it. can't believe Barrett snuck a transmission to us. He always finds a way. Damn him.
Oh, hey, it's you. And here I thought you were some pirate coming back to kill me. Lucky me, right?
And don't leave out any details.
Man, I was so terrified when I got pulled on board that pirate ship. Barrett was all, "Sorry, brother, I'll get us out of this. Trust me." Not what you and I would call a plan, necessarily. Oh, I'm getting to that. He tells me we need to start pretending to fight each other. Trick the pirates into thinking they need to come in before one of us gets killed. I just remember him shouting, "This kid is a killer. How am I supposed to defend myself against these pearly whites? He's gonna bite my face off." I mean, I didn't think it would work, but they came in. All of a sudden, we were wrestling with two of them. Barrett reached for one of their guns. Bingo. Blasted the pilot right in the back. Through to the flight console. And dropped orbit like a rock off a high rise. I blacked out. And when I came to, there he was, smiling like it was just another day on the job. You missed the fun part, Heller. I mean, I go through all the trouble of saving your butt, and you weren't even awake to notice. Then he did the little finger gun thing. Well, no, I don't think so. I caught him holding his ribs a few times. Favored his left leg a bit, you know? Oh, yeah. Probably should have talked about that first. Did I mention I'm on a lot of painkillers? So, I was real excited when a ship showed up. Then, less excited when I realized it was a Crimson Fleet ship. And then, really less excited when Barrett said, "It's okay, I got this." He mumbled something to him, and then they were all gone. I was drifting in and out. But, I think I heard the word ransom. I was drifting in and out, but yeah, I think so. Got a signal from the ship before they grav jumped. Guessing it was Barrett. Haven't really been in a good space to have a listen. Here you go. Hey, I should come with you, right? I don't think anyone else is coming. I think Argos is probably gonna write this whole thing off. Plus, I'm 90% sure working for you would be safer. I hope. Yeah, just, don't ask me to operate any heavy machinery for a while. Give me a minute. I think the worst of it is... Yeah, I'll be alright. I'll be alright. Ready to wisecrack with the best of them. Let me know when you want to head out.
You've given the fleet a lot of trouble, Barrett.
Hey, since when is surviving being attacked causing trouble? Isn't that just fighting back? Hey, pilot, could you move your arm a little bit to the left? I can't make out the console.
Don't move! He's trying to figure out our destination, probably transmitting this conversation right now while we're still in orbit.
Well, yeah, thought I was making that pretty obvious. Okay, put the gun down. I'm done. See? My retinas are pointing away from the console and towards this lovely view of space we have out the window.
Tie him up. Once we get back to the base, the fun starts.
Still think there might be a spot for me on your ship? I gotta get off this rock. Don't worry about me. I'm a tough cookie. The painkillers are starting to work. I'll be just fine after a good nap. You bet. I've worked on enough remote outposts that I know a thing or two about optimizing them for material production. And if you're in the market for a mining buddy, I'm your guy. Phew, oh, I'm glad to hear you say that. For a second there, I thought you were gonna leave me behind. What's on the agenda today? You got it. Catch you on the flip side, boss. Thanks for letting me tag along.
Remember our last conversation, when you told me the artifacts made you feel like you were being pulled across the entire galaxy? Well, it got me thinking, so I dove into our archives and started looking through Constellation's older journal entries. Just because I wasn't familiar with the experience you described, doesn't mean the same might have been true for my predecessor. Unfortunately, no. Other than you and Barrett, there were no records of direct encounters with the artifacts. I have to admit, though, I did get more than a bit sidetracked reminiscing about old times. Really? I'm surprised that I haven't. After reading those journals, all of the pleasant memories of my time spent with Aja just started flooding back. Aja Mamasa. She was the youngest member of Constellation when it was founded. Only took her 15 years to reach chair. Sorry, I sometimes get so caught up in my own bubble, I forget that I wasn't the first. She absolutely was. Aja was the one that taught me the ropes at Constellation and took me under her wing as her protege. Yeah, I thought so too. That's why I adopted her methods. You know, Aja and I logged quite a few interesting discoveries together. But it was the journey itself that I'll never forget. We catalogued unusual stellar phenomena, a few habitable worlds, and some unique life forms, but nothing SSNN would bother to report. Exactly. For me, it was all about the quieter moments. There was nothing quite like sitting back and watching space bend while listening to Aja spin vivid stories to fill the time. Oh, I find that sort of cozy isolation the best way to really get to know someone. Yeah, you know, being alone in interstellar space, nothing but light years of black around you. Some people find that terrifying. I find it comfortable. It helps me bond with my shipmates. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. You know, all this talk about Aja reminds me that my time with her was a gift. I miss her dearly. No, she retired. Living on Porima 2 now, I think. Come to think of it, if we're ever out that far, perhaps we could pay her a visit, and I could make proper introductions. Oh, don't worry. There's no bad blood between us. The worst that might happen is you get stuck listening to two old friends catching up on old times. Well, I don't expect you to be a carbon copy of Aja. Just be yourself. You see, it's clear that we share the same hunger to discover what's out there. And that, well, that's what intrigues me about you. Good. Then we're both on the same page. Anyway, that's all I had to discuss for now, so if you'd point the way, we can continue our journey.
I'm getting antsy just standing here. Okay by me. Working on my biography, huh? You heard of New Homestead in the Sol System? Most people haven't. It's out in the sticks, on one of Saturn's moons. That's where I grew up. Not exactly the most exciting place to be a kid. It's got a lot of ice, a lot of wind, and not much of anything else. I wasn't exactly torn up about leaving to work for Argos. If my family weren't still working the wind farms there, I don't think I'd ever go back. Not enough, according to my mom. But I try to get back every couple months, and I keep in touch when I'm not there. Boss, I spent most of my time collecting rocks. For fun. That should tell you everything you need to know about the bustling metropolis that is New Homestead. The place makes Sidonia look like the big city. I had more fun freezing my ass off looking for meteorites than most New Homesteaders do in their entire lives. Oh yeah, big time. New Homestead was one of the first places people settled after we left Earth. Back then, wind power was all the rage. Some of the equipment at the farm's been around since the first generation of settlers made it to Titan. And it shows, let me tell you. Lots of people in New Homestead work there, including my mom. It's not the greatest job, but it sure beats the ice mines. Yeah, I never saw myself living in New Homestead forever. To tell you the truth, I hope my family splits too. My mom's always talked about retiring to Jemison. Of course, that'd be a whole lot easier if she didn't have so many kids to look after. New Atlantis isn't exactly cheap. Hopefully she'll be able to move someday, though. Yeah, I worry about her. Wind farming's a pretty dangerous job. Maybe someday, when my brothers are older. Lynn convinced me. She and some Argos miners stopped by my hometown on Titan to refuel, and I happened to be on shift at the spaceport that day. I noticed some rare minerals in her cargo hold and started chatting with her about them. And she was impressed by how much I knew about geology and offered me the gig. It wasn't a hard sell. Lynn seemed like a decent boss, and the salary was great. Besides, my rock collection had gotten as big as it was gonna get on Titan. Yeah, we are. She's been my boss for a long time. I think of her as a friend. Don't tell her I said this, but she's not as much of a hard ass as she'd like you to think. And despite what she says, I know she has a soft spot for me. Hell yeah, I do. I've been working on it for years. I used to collect mineral samples from meteorites that hit Titan, or buy them off pilots at the spaceport. Lynn even contributed to it. She offered me a good-sized chunk of tantalum for my collection, as a signing bonus. No way. Whatever you found down there had some seriously weird energy coming off of it. Honestly, I hope I never see something like that again in my life. "8 years, give or take a couple months. It's been a great job. Pays decent, and my rock collection's never looked better." I don't. Really. After what happened on Vectera, I seriously needed a break from Argos. And you're not shy about cracking rocks either, so I still get my fix. Well, my dad's not in the picture, but I have the best mom in the settled systems. More brothers than you can shake a stick at, too. Raising us gave Mom a real run for her money. It's a miracle she didn't leave us to freeze at one of the ice mines on Titan. We got in all kinds of trouble as kids. She's a new homesteader, born and raised. Her family's been working the wind farm since the first generation of settlers made it to Titan. She's a great mom. Never lets anyone put her kids down. You should have seen how mad she got when she found out people at school were making fun of my rock collection. She was so determined to get me to stick with it that she read every geology book I had so she could ask me about my collection. That meant a hell of a lot to me. I've got 6. Evan, Tim, Ethan, Shane, Lucas, and Finn. Or, "Boys, get the hell down here," as our mom likes to call us. I'm the oldest by a couple years. Finn's the youngest, he's only 10, and the rest of them are moody teenagers. Couldn't tell you. He split to join a spacer group when I was young, and I haven't heard from him since. Broke my poor mom's heart. Nope, and I don't plan on it. He made it pretty clear that he didn't want to know me, so I don't want to know him either. I was 12. He left while I was out collecting rocks with a couple of my brothers. Didn't say goodbye or anything. Real class act, huh? Mom took it the hardest. She and my dad were together a long time. I don't think she saw it coming. I sure didn't. And most of my brothers were too young to get what was happening, but they could tell how upset our mom was. That was hard on everyone. But hey, we got through it okay in the end. My mom and I leaned on each other and managed to keep things running while we got back on our feet. Honestly, it wasn't as tough as you'd think. When he left, I told myself to focus on the family I still had, instead of wasting time on the guy who left us. And that helped me keep my head on straight about the whole thing. Yeah, you can say that again. My brothers and I are always up to something. It's a good thing I grew up in a town where our definition of getting into trouble was screwing around with old mining equipment. We would have raised all sorts of hell in a big city like New Atlantis. Knock yourself out, boss. Already taken care of, boss. I donated it to one of the tour companies in New Homestead. Geological formations are one of Titan's big tourist attractions. It hurt my heart a little to give it up, but the woman I donated them to promised they'd give me credit for collecting all the samples. Assuming she ever puts them on display. Whether she does or not, I'm glad to know all my hard work won't be gathering dust in a storage unit somewhere. Alrighty.
You look well. How have you been? I suppose that wouldn't kill me. I never considered anything else. My parents were miners too. I've been learning the trade since I was old enough to dig. The longest I've spent above ground was the year and a half I served in the UC military during the Colony War. That was more than enough for me. I prefer to keep my boots full of dust and my pockets full of credits. Less trouble that way. No, I don't. I only ask as many questions as I need to get my job done. I had no idea it was dangerous. No. Whatever that thing was, it's the only one I've ever seen. I'm glad it's not my problem anymore. I've seen skeletons the size of starships buried in sheetrock, and crystals that release a toxic gas potent enough to kill you through your suit. Once I was part of a job that unearthed an entirely new species of cave-dwelling insects. You never know what you'll find when you break ground. Rocks are good at keeping secrets. And I'm glad you bounced back from it. Losing a miner is never easy. Let's hear it. I did. I know I don't seem like the military type. Like most people, I was less practical when I was young. I was only in the military for a year and a half. I spent the rest of the war underground, mining materials for the UC to turn into ships and bullets. I was talked into it. Someone I loved felt called to serve, and he asked me to join him. Only one of us walked away from the war, though. I was a drill sergeant. You don't seem surprised. I have a firm hand and a knack for getting the best out of people. The UC saw that and put me in charge of training new recruits for combat. Well, I lost someone dear to me in the war. I'm as strict as I need to be to make sure my workers' families don't have to go through that too. Mining can be as dangerous as combat, you know. There's a good reason why I've held on to old habits. It was my husband. The love of my life. He was killed just a month before the armistice. The transport vessel he was aboard was shot down by the Freestar Collective. Hundreds of lives lost. That's the cost of peace. My husband was proud to serve the UC. He served honorably, and I'm proud of him for it. I only wish I'd gotten to say goodbye. No, we didn't. I was stationed at a recruiting center on Jemison, and he served on the front lines. He was a crewman aboard one of the UC's largest ships. He used to tease me about how much more exciting his service was than mine. He always hated being stuck in cities for too long. Thank you. It was never quite the same after he died. Sure. His name was Manuel. He was a miner, like me. We were stationed at the same outpost for a few years, and we had the same supervisor. He was a better man than most. Honest, kind-hearted, and even-tempered. I've never felt more at peace than I did when I was with him. Losing him was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Damn colony war. "5 years. Then we were married for most of it. I knew he was right for me after our first conversation. And I'm not the type to waste time. I can still remember the look on his face when I asked him to marry me. Do I seem like the motherly type, Dusty? No. We never had children of our own. Manuel has a daughter named Miranda, but she was already a teenager when we got married. She lives in New Homestead with her family. We aren't very close, but I try to see her every time I pass through the Sol system. Heartbreaking doesn't even begin to describe it. Manuel was absolutely everything to me. Losing him shook me to my core. I've never been the same. Manuel was my greatest joy. When he died, he took most of my happiness with him. I couldn't handle the heartbreak, so I threw myself into work. I barely looked up from a cutter for years after that. I figured if I kept my head down and my workers safe, that eventually I'd get over the loss. But it's like I said, time doesn't heal everything. I believe I was only ever meant to love one person. I still hate waking up without him. I was with the other officers at my base when a report came through about one of our ships being destroyed. I recognized its name from Manuel's messages. It took a few days before the casualty reports started coming through. But by the time one of the officers came to console me, I already knew he was gone. Space battles don't tend to leave many survivors. I don't think so either. I don't know if distracting myself instead of finding a way to move on was the right choice. That's the trouble with aging. The more of it you do, the more foolish your younger self looks. If it is time to move on, then leaving Argos was a good first step. I don't have as much to worry about out here. Okay. I hope that satisfied your curiosity.
Oh, damn cold here. Going to need a hot cup of coffee after this. This is gonna end badly for you. Running away, eh? You okay? That was a hell of a jump.
Oh, yeah. There's no certainty to the universe at all. Once you really start getting out there, the laws of physics kind of turn into suggestions.
You're pulling my leg again, right? It's the weirdest thing I've seen. No exaggerations this time.
Hey, unicorn. Not kidding.
Wait. The mythical mare with the magic horn thing? Come on. Was King Arthur riding on it too?
Okay, it was more of an extremophile in the vague shape of a horse. But my point still stands. You need an open mind out there. You go into the far reaches of space too tightly wound, your brain is just gonna pop like a soda can. Holy shit. You actually found me.
I wish I could say this is the first time this has happened with Barrett. But, well, it isn't.
Well, this is turning into a regular Constellation party, isn't it? I should have brought drinks. Matsura the Grim here and I actually have a lot in common.
Both escape artists. Being captured by Sistef myself, plenty of times.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Relativity. We're all just creatures of the universe, trying to get away from what's after us. You know, it's actually been kind of nice. Matsura the Grim here is a great host.
No sense letting people's last moments be unpleasant.
See, that's what I like about you, Matsura. A real Renaissance man.
I have enjoyed our time together, Barrett. But I can't just let you go with nothing to show for it. Is Constellation willing to pay ransom in exchange for this man's freedom?
We do have some insurance set aside for this exact problem.
Does that mean you'll be paying me, Miss...
We don't need to be introduced. Here's your money. And we would appreciate it if you could spread the word in the Crimson Fleet that Barrett shouldn't be harassed. It's not working out for any of us.
That's a fair point. But I can't control a man's reputation.
Do what you can. A suggestion to the right ears can work wonders.
Very well. Goodbye to you all. I have enjoyed this little exchange.
See you around, Matsura. I mean, well, you know, hopefully not. So, back to the lodge? Matsura the Grim? Honestly, a pretty nice guy as far as pirates go. Think I butted heads with his mentor once years back. Had the same kind of surprisingly hospitable vibe. Hey, you're underselling my harrowing escape from certain doom here. A little charm goes a long way when the knives are out. Honestly, I was kind of rolling the dice with you. But hey, sometimes a bet pays off. Right. Later.
Keep scanning. I'm sure there's something nearby.
A moment, Barrett.
Well, well, well.
We never
Look what the
finished our
cat dragged
conversation
in.
about your little soiree on the Eye.
Here we go. Look, I already said I was sorry. What else is there to discuss?
Well, there's the small matter of a bill I recently received. 5,000 credits for assorted petty fours. You want to tell me the real story there, Barrett? You and Vladimir don't exactly strike me as the petty fours type. More like beer and pretzels, if you ask me.
Listen, Sarah. We were hosting a party and I don't know what to say. You have to impress,
I'm
right?
ready to help out whenever you need me.
The Eye isn't your personal vacation home. It's a delicate instrument. If you don't want me to revoke your docking rights...
No need to say another word, Skipper. I read you loud and clear. Oh, and I'll settle that bill for the Petit Fours. Don't even worry about that. After this, you're kind of a pirate aficionado. Too soon?
Thanks for taking time to chat. I really need a friendly ear right about now. I received a message from Constellation, and it's given me a lot to think about. No, it's nothing like that. It's just a list of requests. Things I would normally handle if I was there. But I'm not. I'm out here instead with you. No, it's the first time. But the fact that they're reaching out, well, it's given me a lot to think about. You're not keeping me out here. I am. Just... Here, let me explain. Before I joined Constellation, I served for 8 years as the head of the Navigator Corps, until the UC decided to axe the department. It was a branch of the United Colonies Navy, a small fleet of ships outfitted for galactic exploration. Basically, a military version of Constellation. Yeah, I suppose painful is an appropriate way to put it. You see, the top brass demanded press-worthy discoveries to justify the spending, and money was tight after the war. Shutdown was inevitable. At the end of the day, I was in charge, so the blame obviously fell on my shoulders. Well, perhaps it was easy for you, but my obligations to the UC didn't allow me to simply pick up and leave. Sorry. Things are tough for me right now, and I need you to listen. You once told me that you favored the journey over the destination, so I'm hoping you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I failed, because I was more concerned about exploring the stars than pushing a pencil. That depends on your definition of significant. Discover a rare neutron star, and no one cares. But slap a picture of a kooky alien life form on SSNN, and suddenly you're a goddamn rock star. It's all about the propaganda, what gets the people excited. That's what the United Colonies was focused on at the time. That's just it, though. This was as far from the military as you could get. Ships built for exploration, not war. And I still screwed it all up. Yes, maybe. Call it whatever you want. My drive, my initiative, my optimism. It's been my greatest strength and my worst nightmare. It elevates me to these positions of authority, but all I want to do is explore, not sit and make sure all the accounts are balanced. Oh, you have no idea how tempting that sounds. But then dumping everything I've worked so hard to achieve, it's like I've wasted another decade of my life. I can't do that. Ah, so frustrating. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, here you are trying to help me and I'm yelling at you. You have to understand. Once Aja retired, I lost the only person that gave a damn. Of course you do. I'm just not thinking straight right now. Phew, this has taken a lot out of me, so maybe we should just leave things right here. But thank you for being there and listening. It helped. It really did. Much as I'm eager to explore the universe, there's nothing quite like the feeling of returning home.
Sorry for the wait, everyone. Got a little held up on Vectera.
Barrett, we were worried sick.
Well, some of us were.
I see what you did there, Walter. And I know you've been secretly crying into your piles of money just waiting for my return.
Actually, Walter has been complaining about you more than usual, which is always a sign when he's worried.
Don't start, Country.
Wait, is that? And to think the first artifact was taking up dust on the library shelf. Now look at them all. You feel it a bit, can't you? Ever since I found the second one, had the visions. Being around them is just comforting. So hey, I'm still not 100%, plus I feel guilty dragging you into all of this. Why don't I stick around, help you get adjusted to the weird corners of the universe? It doesn't really matter to me. Never get too attached to ships. After the 5th or 6th time, one blows up and you get marooned. The romance fades. Plus the Frontier is a constellation ship. And you're one of us now. So it's just as much yours as mine at this point. You don't want to get dragged down in the gravity of my genius. I get it. Let me know if you change your mind.
As much as I love uncovering new questions, I wouldn't mind a few answers now and then.
I feel like I've been waiting my whole life for this. Constellation, the artifacts. That doesn't sound crazy, does it?
Sorry. I was lost in a memory for a moment there. How can I help? Talk to me. Oh, I'm curious now, too. What's on your mind? I think about it a lot. There's so many possibilities. Some wonderful, some terrifying. I'm not a fearful man, but I am just a man. And I'm keenly aware that this artifact could change my life. Or end it. On Bendy? No, wait. It was Kazal. I can feel Lynn's admonishing stare boring a hole in my back. She's not actually standing behind me, is she? Well, point is, my story's probably a lot like yours. We dug a pit, found some really wonky readings, and followed them to the artifact. Well, they certainly mean something, because not everyone who touches the artifacts sees them. My first instinct was it was a message of some kind, like the Voyager records. Communication from a higher life form reaching out blindly into space. But now I'm wondering if the vision wasn't just sensory. My new theory is something's changed in us physiologically. As in not just a message from beyond, but a delivery. Well, when I picked it up, I had no idea what it was. I knew it was something spectacular, though. I saw a vision. Flashing lights, the whole shebang. Sure, like what? Let's see. I've been in Constellation for a long time, as you know. I enjoy cheese, my work, and long walks on unexplored planets. What else did you want to know about? Always a pleasure.